What's up, guys? Welcome to my Node Worker Empire guide for 2024, updated on this most recent patch here. In this guide, I'm going to show you how to make your worker empire for BDO, and then show you what are the kind of the most efficient nodes on the current patch with all the new stuff that we just got, and kind of how to set all that up. So let's go ahead and get that going here. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do when you start your worker empire, guys, you're going to hire some workers. You can get one worker in every single town for free. You will always have one worker available in every city. So like right here, for example, I have 0 out of 1 workers in Calpheon. Okay. In Valencia, I have 0 out of 1 workers. Thank goodness I haven't hired a worker here yet. This is my EU account, so I don't have anything going on this account yet. You can see I have contribution. It'll say on the left side, here, let me pull my pen out real quick. So on the left side of your screen over here, it will show you what contribution you have available out of your total contribution. So I have 247 out of 300. I have my contribution invested elsewhere. Currently, you can see I have a few. Oh yeah, I have the nodes connected for the Bartali log, but we're not going to worry about that here. If there's a node that you particularly want, the way the nodes work in this game is that you have to actually connect them with your contribution points. So you have to click on the node. That first you have to discover it. Okay, so you have to walk over the node and discover it, okay, or talk to the node manager or what have you. Some nodes in the game require you to actually chat, like use the chat function with the node manager in order to actually see what's on the node. So you can see on this account, my Lynch Farm Ruins doesn't actually have anything here that I can excavate. But if I chat with Zara Lynch here, it'll actually open up the excavation node here, and you'll see that on my North American account when I switch over there. But we're going to do a very basic example of how to invest into a node. The first thing you do if I want to invest in Logia Farm is you click on the node that you want. Okay, you have to invest the contribution points up in the top left up here. You click this little invest contribution, and then you simply click on the node, and then you have to invest in. So this means you have the node. Okay, if this is the node that you actually want to get resources from, you have to then click on the resource that you want, in this case potato, and then you have to invest again into that node in order to get that particular resource there. So you can see I now have this potato node, and I can actually assign a worker to it if I had a worker available for me here. If you want to do something more advanced, like you want to take a more advanced node, you can use the node function in game in the bottom right of your screen here, down over here. Somebody in chat actually effectively, I didn't actually know you could do this until recently, but you can actually click this connect node nearby function right here. You can click the starting node that you want to connect to, in this case Beardtree Ruins, and if I don't want to connect that to Calpheon, I can click Calpheon, and you can see the way that it will connect right there. Okay, and if I just want to click connect and I have all of the contribution available, I can just click connect node. Boom, now it's connected, it's all done, it's ready for me. Okay, so that's a really easy way to kind of connect all your nodes in sequence super quickly like that. You will still have to click on the node that you want, and kind of go in and click the resource that you want, right? So if I want to take this birch node, I can come in here and take this birch node. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is hire a worker. A lot of different ways to do this. Okay, so you need to go to the work supervisor in any given town. You can do this by clicking the search function. There's a work guy. This thing will path you straight to it in any given town. So just go to the town that you want and auto path to the worker that you or the guy via the search function there. There are 2 ways to get workers. Number 1, you can buy them from other players who are selling them on the marketplace. That's the worker exchange here. You can see that somebody's selling an artisan human worker in Valencia City. I'll take that. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't generally want to buy workers unless they are artisan. Okay. You need to understand, buying workers that are not already artisan typically means that they've used up all their promotion attempts, and they're too stupid. People are selling them because they're dumb. You can't fix stupid in BDO. Okay. On this right side, you see promotion 0. Promotion 0. Okay. And that's because those workers actually can't be leveled up. They are level 1 in this case. Workers get a promotion attempt every 10 levels. They can get all the way up to level 40, but generally you get them to level 20. The most efficient way to level a worker is to get them to level 20, promote them. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, promote them again. Okay, because they get 2 attempts. The higher level they are, the higher chance they have of actually succeeding on their worker promotion. Okay. And you basically just want to level up to level 20 because that's really fast. It takes like a day or two. Bam, bam, bam. Based on the way that I'm going to show you how to do it. And if they don't, if you try to promote them twice and they fail both times, just mulch them, either sell them on the marketplace or vendor them or whatever you got to do, and then go on to the next worker and work from there. I don't recommend hiring anything that is below blue grade because it's really easy to roll blue grade workers. Yellow is typically ideal, and then there's orange as well. Orange is extremely difficult to roll for. Generally, you have to upgrade in order to reset, or you have to buy them off the market like you just saw right there. Now, if you want to roll for workers, you can click contract worker. It takes 5 energy to roll for a worker one time. It's RNG, as with most things in this game. So when you roll it, oh, look at that, I got a skill giant on the first try. We're gonna try to roll for a professional worker here for the sake of content. I'm gonna click view continuously. Okay, before you start this, you need to make sure that you have money. Okay, do not roll for workers if you don't have money. This is extremely important. So many people forget to put money in their bank or like on their person before they start rolling, and then they get this perfect worker, the one they always wanted. They don't have, there's no way to save it. If you can't buy it when you're in the window, that's it. It's over. It's gone. It's gone. You can't help yourself. You just make sure you screenshot it so we can all laugh at you. Okay, but like in this case, I want to see professional and up. I will tell you that artisan rolling for artisan workers is extremely costly. I've done it on my main account thousands and thousands of times. I would say that in different cities have different chances of rolling artisan workers as far as I'm aware. For example, Trent and Grana have extremely difficult like artisan worker rolls because people like to use trading in those cities, and so like the game is artificially like kind of skewed. They want you to have to level up the worker. Okay, so professional up is totally doable. You kind of just hire a professional worker, get it to level 20, and then try to upgrade to artisan. If this is kind of the best way to do it. You can technically start at skilled too if you can't. I hit F's because I want to roll it all 30 times. View continuously. Oh, that's a goblin. Nope, that's it. Nope, nope. You can see there are 3 types of workers here. There's goblins, giants, and there are humans. And with any luck here, we might get a professional worker if we are lucky. I doubt it though. We don't have very much energy available, in which case I will go roll on another character. Oh my god, we're gaming. Okay, easy peasy. There are 3 differences between the workers. We're gonna take this one here. We're gonna hire the goblin. Straight away, easy peasy. That's how it's done, boys. That's how it's done. Okay. Now that we have a worker in Velia, you can actually click on the city and you can see your workers in the bottom right. There's a worker tab here. I'll move the chat up so everybody in the guide can actually see. It's down here in the bottom right. You just click that little pickaxe right there and you'll be able to see your workers. If you do it from the main map, it'll show you all of the workers that you own. If you do it from the particular city, it'll just show you the workers that you have in that city. Okay. Now in this case, I want to put them on potato. Okay. Now this worker is working from Velia. Okay, if you want to use a worker, the node has to be connected to the city the worker is from. In this case, from Velia, makes it really easy. Potato farming, okay, it will tell you, and you notice I have a Valencia city worker. Now, my nodes are not connected through Valencia, I don't believe. So it's not going to let me put this here, but you can see that there's a lot of different things going on here, and it's telling you stuff. Workload and work speed. If your worker's speed is really fast, goblin workers, for example, are the fastest of the 3 workers. Okay. If your worker is really fast, you'll see a much faster speed, and the workload tells you how hard it is for that worker to work on that node. There's a delicate balance between these things. I'm not really going to get into it too much. Just understand that the workload and the work speed dictate the runtime of your worker. What most players are going to worry about is this number right here, or this time right here, is how much time it's going to take for each revolution for the worker to complete that task. So if I wanted to run this from Valencia, obviously that's going to be really inefficient. It's going to take 2.5 hours to run the potato node one time. Get out. Okay. But if I want to run it from Velia, okay, 53 minutes. That's a lot faster. And you'll notice that time comes down dramatically if your worker levels up. As your worker levels up, he will learn skills. He will get more speed. He will get more stats. And he will be much more efficient. Okay. If you want to level a worker really fast, what you do is you put him on a really close node with a really fast runtime, and you just set that puppy to just run. You just let him run. So in this case, the potato node is great for this. I can just put it on 50,000 revolutions. Boom, go to town. Go to town, and he will just work. And he will just work. One thing I forgot to show is that if your worker is level 40, At level 30, I believe your workers stop learning any skills and stop getting like extra like work speed and stuff. I could be wrong about that. They just changed it in a recent patch, but I'm pretty sure from 30 to 40, the only thing that really changes is that at level 40, you can actually tell your worker where you want them to deposit the goods. Okay. Wrong. You do iron metal crates, easy level. No, I'm not, no, do not. Okay. In the guide, just so that YouTube is aware, do not try to use your workers, like set up like crating for your workers to try to level them up. Is it faster? Yes, technically it's faster this way, but it's dented because you have to set up all this extra crafting. It requires a lot of extra work on your end, and you're basically vaporizing materials. Especially if you're a new player, you won't have the materials available to yourself to even do that. So we're gonna go ahead and time that dipshit out for the rest of the guide. Okay, shut the fuck up. All right, so so we run a really fast runtime. We want a really fast runtime, and we want it really close to town. Okay, so in this case, I cannot, he's not level 40, so I can't change where he's going to deposit the goods. So the goods will come out in Valia. I don't really have a choice on that. When they hit level 40, I can put it to any other place in the game. Okay, so like if I want him to deposit it in Calpheon, the runtime will be the same. So the runtime to and from the node will be exactly the same. It's just that instead of depositing the goods in Valia, they will magically appear in Calpheon or wherever you want them to be. That's why level 40 artisan workers are crisp. If you want to promote workers, I should have covered this before, but very quickly, worker promotion. You open your worker tab again in the bottom right where I showed you before. You click promotion information, and when you scroll down, you can click promote here. Again, workers get promotion attempts every 10 levels, scaling up to 40. You really, if you're trying to level up your worker, if he doesn't promote by the time he's level 20, just mulch him and get a new worker. Trying to get him to level 30 takes way too long. This one I forgot about, and so he hit level 30. So he's under a promotion test right now. I believe it takes 6 to 8 hours or something for a promotion test. It used to take 24, but now it takes a lot less. And they have a much higher chance of succeeding. So you'll know when they finish whether or not they're going to promote or not. 8 hours. Thank you, chat. The differences between the three workers, we will go through those really quick. You have goblins. You have humans. And you have Twitch chatters. I'm just kidding. You have giants. Okay. Really, the Twitch chatters is the goblins for sure. This is you guys over here. Goblins are the fastest of the three. So like in terms of fastest speed. So in terms of runtime, okay. Second in speed, third in speed. Okay. Okay. Fast. I feel the need for speed. Okay, well, if goblins have the fastest runtime over and over and over again, why would you ever hire other workers? Okay, well, humans have the highest luck. Okay. Goblins have the lowest luck. And giants have second luck. I'm pretty sure second luck. Okay, yeah, so luck. What does luck do? Okay, luck's really important for nodes that have multiple resources that you can actually gather. So on Ancient Stone Chamber, for example, you can see there's gold and Trace of Nature. Really, the reason you're taking this node is not for the gold. I know that gold seems like this crazy resource if you're new to the game. Gold really isn't used for a whole lot. It's used for various like odds and ends and things like this, but platinum's a much better node. In this case, you'd be taking this node to try to get the Trace of Nature. Okay, in order to get that second proc, your worker needs to have higher luck. So if there's multiple different things that drop from a node, having high luck will help you get those extra resources. Okay. And especially from excavation nodes. So when we go through like what workers to be putting on what node, really what you need to understand is that humans should go on the excavation nodes. Those are all the nodes that look like this. Okay, this little shovel right here, this icon right here. There are a few of these in the game. There are not very many, but there are a few. You can sort by, in the top right, you can search product node production node information, and then you can search for excavation. This isn't like spot on all the excavation nodes in the game. Like it's going to have some bugs. Like this is not actually an excavation node. It is in certain circumstances. This is like mining. It's not really an excavation node per se, but like you can see Lynch Farm Ruins. This is an excavation node, but I haven't chatted with the node manager and can't see it. This is exactly the same way. Whenever you have an excavation node in the game, you're going to have to go chat with the node manager in order to actually get that node to work. So Mancha Forest is another good example. Rua Tree Shub is a good example. So is Fountain of Origin, Crypt of Resting Thoughts, Mountain of Division. And again, in order to unlock these, you have to go just chat with the node manager really quick, okay? Anyway, that's how you find those, and there'll be nice big blue arrows pointing to them. Excellent. Excellent. But yeah, really only at the excavation nodes. Human workers need to go on these nodes. Okay, these are human workers. Goblins will run them faster, but goblins are going to bring you a bunch of gold. We don't want gold, right? We want the trace of nature. Now, that's not always necessarily the case, as we will cover later. Sometimes you take a node like Ancient Ruin, this Fisher site. This has Opal on it now. This is an incredible node. So if you wanted to put a goblin on that node so you got more Opal, that's not the end of the world. You'd have a faster runtime. You get more Opal. Opal is an extremely good resource in BDO because it has supply and demand. We're going to talk a lot about supply and demand later. That's a big part of what goes into what makes certain nodes very valuable and certain resources very valuable within the game. I'm not going to be like the end-all be-all expert on all of the supply and demand, and of course it's going to depend on when you're watching this video and like what your market is like on your region. I can only speak to what is on like North America for the most part. I do know a little bit about the market in EU, but not enough to really be an expert on it. It's certainly, there are a lot more life skillers on EU, so their market is definitely a little bit more skewed than North America is. So I take what I tell you with a grain of salt on this, but like generally speaking, what I'm going to tell you is the most efficient nodes for their contribution. But this is just basically how the goblin human giant breakdown works. I will also say that the giants give the most sacks. Okay. I think goblins give like the least sacks, and I think that humans give like second sacks. Is that true? Do I have this messed up? Humans give most sacks? Okay. Most sacks. Second sacks. They're based on the luck stat. Okay, that makes sense. Lowest sack. Okay. So, what are sacks? Worker sacks are these things. I'll show them to you on North America. Essentially, every node has the potential to bring in these extra resources that, like, they're called worker sacks or farming sacks or excavation sacks or whatever, based on what type of node it is. You open the sack, you get a bunch of extra fun resources like traces and fruits and saps and all kinds of fun stuff. They make the nodes more valuable. Okay, so humans get the most sacks. They have the highest luck, and they're the second fastest on speed. Giants are the second fastest, or the second highest on sacks, second on luck, and they're third on speed. Now, I will say the giants will run for the longest. Okay, without remembering to feed them, the giants will run for the longest of the three. Now, this is kind of less relevant now, because you can auto feed your workers in your family inventory. So if I minimize this so it's not confusing, you can put grilled bird meat, which is what you're going to use to feed your workers. You can use beer or grilled bird meat. Normal people use grilled bird meat. People who have mental illness on the internet use beer still. So don't do that. You're going to use grilled bird meat like a normal human being. Okay. When you put the grilled bird meat in your family inventory, you can hit recover all. And as long as you hit, when you open your worker like tab, you click recover all, it's going to pull up this little menu. As long as you have auto worker recovery on and you have food in your family inventory, it will just auto feed your workers for you. Easy peasy. So like the giants are a lot less relevant now. A lot of people feel very strongly one way or another. Some people swear by goblins. A lot more people nowadays swear by humans. I'm an advocate that all three workers are good at different things. For example, if you have farms in BDO, like if you're going to work on farming and you're going to have workers manage your farms for you, which you basically have to do in every case unless you're trying to power level your farming, you need to use giants every single time. Giants are super useful for farms. Now, it doesn't really matter what level your giant is. Pro tip, you can just use green or white giants if you want to, because you'll have to feed them less, but it is what it is. Or they'll be really easy to pick out in your worker inventory, to say the least. But like, yeah, you always want to use giants for your farms, for example. Humans are always just a really good pick, and then goblins are really good too. You need to understand that goblins are going to give you the most of the resource that you want from that node. So goblins are really, really solid. So are humans. Giants are generally speaking considered like the lesser of the three, but like I have a lot of giants in my worker empire because back in the day, there wasn't an auto feed worker thing. So like I hired a lot of giants because I didn't want to have to feed my workers all the time, but that's not as important anymore. Regardless, if you find an artisan worker, you should just buy it regardless. All right, so this is how you do those sacks that I talked about. Basically, every node that you take in the game is also going to work, is also going to give you a sack of some kind, depending on what kind of node it is. If you're like doing farming, they'll bring back farming sacks for you. And in the farming sack, it has fruit of nature. Okay. But if you scroll down, you can see some miner's sack. The miner's sack has a chance of having like a different gemstones in it, and like rough stones and stuff. And you can see I have thousands of these because I have not opened them. This is a lot of stuff, guys. It amounts to a lot of money. So like no matter what, if your workers are working, even if they're on kind of an inefficient node, it's really good to have your workers working just because you're going to get these sacks. And we talked about the sacks before when we talked about like the type of workers that you could get. But like there's some miners sacks, there's farmer sack. Here's the archaeologist sacks. They're going to give you trace of natures, like the traces. Yeah, so like this is just a lot of traces and stuff. There's also some fisher sacks, and these give you coral, which are pretty cool. So yeah, this is just kind of extra stuff that your worker empire will bring in. If you're wondering how much worker empire money that I bring in per day, passively, I would say I make about 200 million a day. As long as the workers are working all day. Make about 200 mil extra every day. Just letting them do, they're just in the background working. You set it up, set it and forget it. Worker lodging is very simple. Like I said before, you get one automatic worker lodging in every city. Beyond that, you can buy Pearl Shop worker lodging off the marketplace under the function tab, I think. Yeah, under the function tab, you can see Altanova tariff lodging +1, Valencia lodging +1. This basically gives you extra workers in the city for free of charge for no extra contribution. I have most of the worker lodging in the game because that contribution, pound for pound, contribution wise, that is the best way to get like to spend your money. If you're trying to make a worker empire, you can't go wrong. It's like you're talking about like 80 cents to $1 for one worker slot, and then you don't have to invest contribution. Then you get to have more nodes. It's just better. It's just so good. Oh, they also give lodging via loyalties. You can go to loyalties and silver items. They do give away lodging via loyalties from time to time. I highly recommend buying these. These are really good. They'll give you an extra worker slot without having to spend IRL dollars. Huge dub. There are certain towns that I did buy worker lodging in, and I will demonstrate those. You can kind of go through in here. You can click lodging, and it'll tell you where the lodging is. In Velia, I do have all 3 lodging. This is the best lodging in Velia right here. Velia 1, room 1, 2, and 3. These are really good. This will give you 1, 2, 3, or 5 worker slots in Velia. So like if you don't want to spend the Pearl Shop stuff, Velia, you can have 5 extra worker slots, or a total of 6, because you have the free one too. In Heidel, the best ones are up here. Right here along the top, this is Heidel 8-1, room 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is a massive amount of lodging. Okay, this is the most efficient lodging in the entire game. It's like 8 contribution for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lodging. You get 11 lodging for like 8 contribution. It's crazy. It's insane. This is the first lodging that you buy, which is why I said if you connect Velia to Heidel, you can run Heidel workers to Velia nodes and have them be relatively efficient. Like you can run them to Goblin Cave, you can run them to Ancient Stone Chamber, Forest of Seclusion, etc. And then it kind of alleviates what goes on in Velia a little bit. So because there's not as many good nodes in Serendia, so you kind of have to think outside the box a little bit. Oh, the best lodging in Calpheon here is down here. Calpheon Southgate 22F, Southgate 1, and Southgate 21F. These are the best worker lodgings in the game for Calpheon specifically. This is going to give you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 workers for like 5 contributions. It's really easy. It's really, really easy. It's nice. Anyway, that's the only lodging that I have in the game that should help any new players that like is generally new players have Velia, Serendia, and Calpheon. I mean, Balenos, Serendia, and Calpheon discovered. that should at least help those players. If you want to get worker lodging in other cities, I can kind of help with that. You just have to stop by my stream or ask me in my Discord, whatever. Anyway, that's a quick rundown on how to hire workers and how to connect nodes and stuff in BDO. Let's go over to my NA account. We're going to get into exactly what nodes you should be taking. Let's talk about efficiency. I will say that we just went through the 3 different types of workers in the game. There are different workers for like Land of the Morning Light, and then there's different workers for Grana. There's different workers for Odraxia. The turtle is the giant. For Land of the Morning Light, there's a turtle, there's a rabbit. Hold on. Make it a little sharp. Problem. Human. Giant. Okay. In Land of the Morning Light, the goblin is the bunny. Or wait, no, it's the dokebi, right? Dokebi. I don't even know how to spell it. Well, however the hell you spell it. Then there's the turtle is the giant. And then what's the human? What's like the human equivalent? Is it just a human? I only have dokebis. Dulceway. No, that's the main story guy. Wait, really? Is it called Dulceway? Okay, so yeah. Dulceway. Just like the main storyline. Okay. In Grana, there are Papu. What's the other thing in Grana? The blue ones. What are they called? Fetus, thank you. So the Fetus of the Giants, I'm pretty sure. And there's only 2, so there's the Fetus and the Papu. Okay. Generally speaking, most people want the Papu every time. The Fetus, you'll find the Fetus workers are a dime a dozen because nobody wants those. Everybody wants the Papu, but the Papu are really hard to get. Everybody wants Dokebi in Land of the Morning Light. These are the 2 that I recommend for the specials as well. Dokebi are the only ones that can actually mine from Dokebi Forest. I'm pretty sure that's the only one. And the Dokebi are also like the fastest. They're also really efficient, so you really can't go wrong with the Dokebi. Now in Odalita, there's instead of giants, there's dwarves, I think. Okay, and I think that those are giants. Yeah, but there's humans in Odalita as well. Yeah, I'll check. Let me check real quick. So yeah, you have humans with shackles over their necks. The Dark Knights. They went willingly. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Then they have the giants. Well, they have normal giants, and then they have dwarfs. I guess the dwarfs are the goblins. Dwarfs are the goblins. So I take it back. These are supposed to be over here. That's all it is. Alright. This is kind of the chart here. They line up perfectly. This is kind of how it works. Alright. Okay. Now, as far as efficiency goes, let's start getting into our nodes. If you're brand new to the game, you only have a little bit of contribution. You want to come right over to Land of the Morning Light. Land of the Morning Light has some of the most efficient nodes in the game because when they designed it, they finally decided, they literally said at the ball when they designed it, hey, we're not going to make the new Regents nodes super crazy high like we did the previous nodes. If you look at some of these old node regions that they had, like over here in Duvenkroon and stuff, they used to cost... Kuwait Lumber Camp used to cost 5 CP per node, plus it took you 3 CP per node to actually take stuff. It was the most obnoxious amount of contribution in the world. They've since lowered it a little bit, but it's still Land of the Morning Light is by far the best. Each one of these nodes only takes 1 contribution to get to and 1 contribution to invest into. It's very, very easy, and they're very, very efficient in terms of what they're going to give you. Overall, in terms of efficiency, you should probably take Dokebi Forest first. This one right here, the Crystal of Harmony, is extremely difficult to get. And it makes the ultimate Hooms, ultimate Macalods, and ultimate Gervish. Not that anybody makes those, but like it makes those ultimate crystals, which are extremely expensive, and you're limited basically on the Crystal of Harmony. So you want to get that running as quickly as you can. Trace of Nature is also extremely good. Rough Translucent Crystal will intermittently sell, depending on supply and demand on the market. It's not a bad resource at all. It's okay. Mysterious Powder is basically at min most of the time. It's used for like making the master hunting matchlock, or it's used for something in hunting. I don't think it's the master hunting matchlock. Maybe it is. It's the sniper rifle. It's used for making the sniper rifle. That's what I'm thinking of. Plateau. Reed is garbage. Don't take it. Frozen Crystal of Bitterness and Darkness. This is a really good node. Again, you're getting Trace of Nature. And again, you want to try to have... Like, there are no humans, but this is where you would put your human if you had one. If you have the Dokebi will be just fine on this. Will run just fine. They know that... I think Dokebi's had adjusted luck. There's no humans over here. This Pine Sap node in Bomnay County is really good. All of the saps and the traces, although... As of, like, last patch, they combined all of the traces and all of the fruits together. But saps are still different. So pines, like all of the saps in the game are typically really good. Whenever you see sap, that's generally a really good thing. There are a few exceptions to this rule, but as a general rule, sap is good. Pine is excellent. Pine timber also sells at a really good price as well, so you can't go wrong with that node. Again, this is a pine and sap node. Can't go wrong here. This is Homling base. Bracken, you can choose to take this node. If you don't have the contribution, then don't worry about it. Bracken is usually sitting at max price. It's used to make the Dreighan meal. Dreighan meal is used for luck or to put together for like simple cron meals and stuff. The Dreighan meal is pretty good. And so people like to make those for like their knowledge stuff. And Bracken is kind of like a limiting factor for that. It's used in the OD meal too. That's correct. Thank you, chat. Up here at Barry Forest, this is an amazing node. Cedar timber is one of the best timbers in the game because a lot of people like to make the Calpheon timber crate that takes fir, cedar, and birch, I think. I could be wrong about the third one, but cedar for sure. Spirit's Leaf is also really good because it's used in alchemy. It's a limiting reagent for a lot of your alchemy. If you guys want to see my alchemy guide, I have one of those as well. But yeah, all of that will sell really well. If you come over here to Bombawi Valley, the Decimation, Fruit of Nature, this is a slam dunk, can't go wrong. The Maple Timber, Maple Sap, Old Tree Bark, slam dunk node. Everything you get from that node is top tier. Old Tree Bark is really difficult to come by. Maple Sap is a limiting factor in a lot of alchemy recipes or some really big like end game elixirs in the game. And then Maple Timber is also really super useful as well. So you just can't go wrong. All of that will sell really well in the marketplace. You can sell that for raw silver, even if you don't do alchemy or any of this stuff. This is really good passive income for you guys. This is a Bracken node. So again, I take the Bracken nodes because this is the easiest way to get Bracken in the whole game. And again, it's used in the OD and the Dreighanese meal. Typically, it's going to be used in the OD meal. I don't know why I didn't think about that before, but the OD meal is definitely a lot more popular, especially for food rotations in BDO, because it's really good for a DP, like a defensive food rotation. Okay, those are the best nodes in Land of the Morning Light. You can try to take more, but generally speaking, I have everything that you could possibly want in Land of the Morning Light. The rest of this stuff is really not very good. If I didn't cover it, it's not very good. Like the flowers and stuff are generally not worth it. And if you see mushrooms in the world of Black Desert, just like in real life, don't. Okay, like mushrooms are just not generally worthwhile as nodes as a general rule, unless you really want them for alchemy. You really only need them for alchemy recipes, very specific alchemy recipes, and then when you need them, you just buy them off the market. Like it's really, they're always available. They're basically at min, whatever. But if you only have a small amount of contribution, this is definitely where you start. This is where all the contribution goes. As you branch out to more contribution, you should come down over to Velia. Velia is going to be the next most efficient way to spend your contribution. The nodes directly surrounding Velia are very good. In this case, the chicken meat and the eggs, like the eggs are really good, and the chicken meat will always sell. Very good. This also levels your workers up really fast. Potatoes are good. They're kind of always a very consistent node. They go up, they go down, but generally speaking, you can always sell potatoes at a reasonable price, or you can make them into beer and sell the beer at max price. So that's up to you. But potatoes are really good. There's a potato node here. That's really good. But this one has the other chicken meat and the egg node. This is the priority node here. Again, chicken meat and egg are always going to be more efficient than the potato in most cases. Goblin Cave is another really good one because you get ash timber and spirit's leaf. You do not have to take copper. Copper goes through phases. Sometimes copper is really good. Sometimes copper is really bad. I always have copper, and then I just sell it when it's really high. That's the thing about having a passive worker empire, is you can kind of low-key keep an eye on the market, and when things max out because a recent patch required everyone to have melted copper, you can just dump all your copper at max price, and you're good to go. But like, I kind of just save up materials until, you know, if they fluctuate like this, until they basically reach max for supply and demand, so I get the most efficiency out of my worker empire. But ash timber is really, really good. So is spirit's leaf. The best EWAs. This node is actually I messed up. I should have this node. This is technically one of the best nodes in Balenos here, because it has ash sap. Ash sap is required in massive quantities. And it only is dropped from like a couple nodes in the game. There's only like 2 or 3 nodes in the game that have ash sap. So again, saps are really good. This node, I should have this, although I think I put a worker on a node that I shouldn't have. Let's see. Let's take off of... I like Powder of Darkness. That Powder of Darkness is further. Yeah, we don't like the Powder of Flame is not nearly as valuable as it used to be, so we're going to pull contribution from this. And we're actually going to put it on EWAs over here. This should technically be a... Ooh, if I had a human, it would technically be better, but it's okay. I'm going to have him drop it in Calpheon. You'll notice that I can actually change this now because this is a level 40. All of my workers are level 40, the exception of one who's promoting right now. I'm going to have him drop it in Calpheon. That's where I drop most of my materials, so it's really easy to sell everything, and I know where everything is. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is like efficiency-wise, these are really good. A lot of people will tell you to take these corn nodes. I will be the first to tell you that these are not very efficient nodes at all. You only take these corn nodes if you have a lot of extra contribution or you have a lot of extra workers laying around and you really want the corn nodes. These 2 corn nodes are probably the least efficient in the game. Corn, potato, wheat, barley, all of these things are just grain. Okay, they all have the same purpose. They're all essentially the same thing. Okay. The corn, for whatever reason, is extremely difficult to get, and I would probably attribute that to territory resource information, but like not really in this case. It's probably just because the runtime on the corn is twice as long as something like the potatoes might be. If you're wondering what these bars are, if you look at the territory resource information in the top right, you're going to see a lot of different bars. You'll see gold bars, blue bars, and green bars. If you're colorblind, you just see bars. But generally speaking, when you're talking about the worker empire, you're looking at the green bar particularly. Okay, the green bar tells you how many other people on the server have that node. Okay, so you'll notice that like for this one, a fair amount of people have the corn node, but it's still reasonably efficient to have this node. If more people on the server have your node, the green bar will be lower. If the green bar is lower, your worker will be slightly less efficient on that node. You'll bring in there's like a min and a maximum amount of resources that your worker can be bringing in based on how many other people on the server have this node. Okay. And essentially, if it's a 0, you're getting the minimum amount. You're still going to get a good amount of stuff. Like you're going to get a set minimum based on what your worker's efficiency and the minimum that the node will get for you. But again, if you have 100% on this bar right here, you will get more efficiency out of that node. So it's something to think about when you're trying to put into nodes. This is not the end all be all by any means, but like it's something to consider if you're like, I don't know whether to take this node or that node. Well, look at which one is going to be a little bit more efficient for you is probably a good way to do it. The reason that this one is at 0 for Ancient Stone Chamber is because everybody has Ancient Stone Chamber. Everyone invests in Ancient Stone Chamber because that was the trace of Earth node. Now it's a trace of Nature node because again, they've condensed all the traces. And now you get gold with it. They have changed on this patch. They have changed all the excavation nodes in the game. So I'm going to focus on which excavation nodes you should be taking a little bit later. But yeah, that's generally how territory resource information works. We went through most of the nodes here that work really well. Iron, as a general rule, and Powder of Darkness are really good. Iron is very consistent, a lot like copper is. It goes up and down, it fluctuates, but sometimes you can catch it when it's really high and you can sell for a lot more money. Powder of Darkness is also really good because it's used for Spirit Perfume Elixir in massive quantities. Spirit Perfume Elixir is used by the entire server. It is the perfume of choice for a lot of the grinders in the game. It is crazy, crazy good. And so Powder of Darkness typically sells at a really good price, so you don't have to worry about that. And again, Iron and Powder of Darkness on this note on Coastal Cliff as well are really good. Powder of Flame is not as good. Usually that sits at min. Sometimes for whatever reason the alchemists on the server kind of go crazy with it, so they buy a bunch of Powder of Flame because they want to get to Guru Alchemy and they need it for Clown's Blood or what have you. And like the copper, like I said, is intermittently good. I think the copper is the better resource on that, to be honest with you. The Powder of Flame is not crazy valuable. We talked about this one, talked about that one, talked about that one. Over here on Olvia, if you have workers in Olvia, I recommend hiring workers in Olvia and then using them for your farms. Farms require workers to work them like around the clock like this. I run my farms from Olvia like this, and I run a lot of giants. But if you end up with workers from Olvia, there are a few nodes that are pretty good. Wolf Hill, the problem with this node is it's only ash timber. You're not getting Spirit's Leaf, you're not getting ash sap, you're not getting anything else. So this is your lowest priority node. You really don't take this unless you have a massive amount of contribution. You can connect and you can have your worker in Olvia run Powder of Darkness and Iron Ore for you, which is typically what I do. Or you can run this Grape node. Grape and BDO is really good. It always sells because it is a fruit. Okay, fruits are used for cooking in a lot of ingredients, and they are the limiting factor for a lot of people. So like people are going to want to buy fruits off the market from you all the time. Grape will always sell. Pretty solid. I would not reach up here. This is the olive node. That's garbage. Don't even worry about that unless you're trying to level up your worker, in which case I would use the grape node instead. Forest of Seclusion is a pretty good node. Again, copper and powder of flame, we talked about that. That's like kind of mid whatever. If you don't want it, then take it out. You'll notice that I took out a copper powder of flame node earlier. Those are the first ones to go. Okay, yeah, I don't need those. Maple, timber, and monk's branch is really good. Monk's branch is a limiting reagent in alchemy. Really solid. And maple timber, like I said, always sells. Timber of almost any kind will sell because a lot of the processors and the traders on the server they'll buy them from you in raw, and then they'll make them into crates. You do not want to do this yourself unless you have like Guru 15 trading when it becomes efficient. So like, don't worry about it's like, oh, well, should I do that? No. No, just sell them the materials. I promise. Okay, like it's it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Oh, we talked about ancient stone chamber. Let's move over to Serendia now. All right, the Serendia nodes that everybody talks about all the time. There's two. One is here at Alejandro Farm. It's the cooking honey. W node. This is not the best cooking honey node in the game. W node though. Really easy to get to contribution wise. If you only have a small amount of contribution, this is definitely one of the nodes that I would take. The pumpkin node is actually, believe it or not, this is really good too. Pumpkins are vegetables, and if you're trying to power level your cooking, vegetables are really good because you can just spam pickled vegetables. You can check out my cooking guide for that. It's gonna be made in the future, guys, so like in the future my cooking guide will be up there for them. Pumpkin node down here just south of Heidel. I do not like the wheat node is good, sure. The flax node, this is a node that's like intermittently good. I think that flax is kind of garbage now. Flax used to be a lot better because it used to be what people used to power level their processing. It's not as good anymore because there's family-wide life skills. People don't need to power level their processing as frequently anymore on alts accounts. Flax is just doesn't have the purpose that it used to have. So how long should you spam cooking until what level? You can get to master cooking like really easily. Some people go all the way to Guru with just pickled vegetables, but like I don't recommend that. I recommend at least just getting a master. Again, over here at Moretti Plantation, you can take the wheat node. Flax node is like whatever, man. I hate that shit. Like it just doesn't like you. And if you're gonna sell flax, do not process it. I know what a lot of you are thinking are like, oh, I can process this stuff and then make a lot of money. You need to pick one or two things and you can process those things AFK overnight, and then you can make money that way. I don't even necessarily recommend doing that. I recommend just selling the materials raw and then AFK horse trading or doing AFK fishing or something else, because the processing generally isn't worth it unless you have a really good mastery setup, in which case it's not an AFK activity anymore. Anyone that has a lot of mastery knows processing ain't AFK anymore if you have a lot of mastery doing it. So if you're gonna get flax, just make sure that you sell it at base, because the more you process it, the less it's going to sell as a general rule. Okay, because people want it so that they can process it for processing EXP. That's usually what people buy it for. Castle Ruins is a maple node, and it has maple sap, which means it's extremely high priority if you have the contribution to grab it. This is a great node. Maple sap is always super useful for the endgame alchemy recipes. Again, endgame players need endless supplies of elixirs. They always need more elixirs. Always, always, always. Maple sap is a key ingredient in one of those elixirs. I forget which one it is, but and at least one or two of them. Serendia Shrine is also another one of these timber nodes. This one's pine though. It's pine and Monk's Branch. We talked about Monk's Branch before. Alchemy, pine, we're selling it, baby. W node. Very, very good. Southern Swamp is kind of mid. A lot of people have this node, and like it's only really going to give you iron. The rough mud crystal was worth a lot way back in the day when people used to make was it Grunel with the rough mud crystal? It might be something else. They're like Grunel I think was the black crystal, wasn't it? Like rough black crystal. Yeah, Grunel is rough black crystal. So the rough mud crystal is used for something else. It still has its various uses, but it's just not as useful anymore. You could still sell it for basically max, or for like mid to max price, depending on how the market looks for it on that particular day. Glish Swamp is something that you can talk about. It's got a lead node on it. Lead and Powder of Time. Powder of Time is typically minned out, man. Like you just can't, it just doesn't sell for a whole lot. And then lead is like kind of mid, so like I don't recommend this node unless you have a lot of contribution. This is complete garbage. Don't even look at it. Glish Ruins, this is the other node that's like really, really good. This is one of the priority nodes. Okay, so like the honey node and the other priority node is Glish Ruins. The reason Glish Ruins is one of the best nodes in the game now is because it gives platinum ore with Trace of Nature. Trace of Nature, like I said, is a trace, so it's like it's really solid. You need it for alchemy and stuff. But platinum is extremely rare in BDO, and it's extremely sought after because people have to use it for their T10 attempts on their horses, and everyone does T10 attempts. I don't care who you are. Eventually you're going to work on T10 attempts, and there's more player working on them all the time. So like the demand just keeps skyrocketing for platinum. There's just not enough ways to get it. And so platinum will always basically sell for maximum price on pretty much any server that you have. See? Max price all the time. So if I was going to sell 1,000 platinum right now, it'd be 45 million silver. Really good. You're not going to get it in crazy big quantities, but at least you'll have it for yourself when you need it, or you can sell it as you need to. Can I convert my workers? I mean, if I want to make a worker of Velia to Land of the Morning Light, can I? No. You cannot move workers out of cities. You have to sell them and then hire a new worker in the new city. Good question, though. Okay. What other nodes have we not talked about yet? Northern Plain of Serendia is okay. It has Silver Azalea. Don't recommend this. Do not recommend Silver Azalea. You can just buy Silver Azalea off the marketplace if you need it. It's really cheap. The only reason that you ever need Silver Azalea is for power leveling your alchemy, which means it's a limited time use. Right now there's an event going on, so Silver Azalea is probably sold out. If I check the market right now, there's an alchemy event going on. This is probably the only time that Silver Azalea is sold out. Yeah. So like you can see it's skyrocketed. It's at max. All right. So like when there's an alchemy event, I'll probably sell all of my Silver Azalea tonight. Like all of it. Every single piece of it. Because I'm already Guru Alchemy or whatever the hell. Yeah, I'm Guru 4 Alchemy already. So I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. But Silver Azalea is like whatever. You really can't get rid of it. It comes in so quickly that you really can't get rid of it fast enough. It's kind of a pain in the ass to sell. You can only sell 10k at a time, and 10k gives you like 4 million. It's annoying, so I don't really recommend this. I only have it because I didn't have anything better to get with my contribution, and I needed to put the worker to work. This maple timber node is really good. Red tree lump is like kind of mid. Usually it's minned out, but it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's an alchemy recipe. Maple timber is really what you're here for, though. It's really good. One of the best nodes in the game is also up here. Well, it used to be one of the best nodes of the game. Now it's kind of mid. Fleece and knitting yarn. This is the only fleece node in the game that I'm aware of. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong. But like this, for a really long time at least, this is the only fleece node in the game. And this is the only way to get it. And so this is a great node to pick up if you have the contribution in Serendia. Oh, we talked about Lynch Farm Ruins. You'll notice on my EU account, I did not have this excavation thing here, but I've talked to Zara on this account, and so I have the Trace of Nature node, the gold and the Trace of Nature node. This is definitely worthwhile to get. It's really close to Heidel. It's got a really fast runtime as far as the excavation nodes are concerned. Gives you gold, which is gonna min, I'm sure, but like it's okay. It's all right. All right. Do all the previous excavation nodes give a similar, the singular Trace of Nature? Yes, but now they all give, it's different now. They all give an ore and a Trace of Nature. Ore and a Trace of Nature. So whether it be gold, platinum, opal, quartz, and one of them gives a flower, but that's garbage. We'll get to that later. I'm going to go over all the excavation nodes at the same time. All right, that's Serendia. Did I miss any Serendia nodes? I don't think so. We'll talk about Kamasylvia Temple too. This is a flax node. I hate this node. You guys know how I feel about flax. I hate it. But like the only reason I have it is because it's efficient for the runtime for that particular worker. It's like, okay, fine. Take some flax. Tiger mushroom's even worse though. It's like the lesser of two evils, and I already had Kamasylvia Temple. This is kind of how I connect the two regions here. All right, let's do Calpheon, boys. All right, Calpheon has a lot more nodes and a lot more region to work with here. So nodes first or factories? Nodes every time. You have to level your workers anyway. And you need to get the resources to run the factories or to run the crafting. So, all right, so Calpheon, there's a number of nodes that are really good. Typically, when you talk about Calpheon's best nodes, you're going to talk about its tin nodes, and you're going to talk about its excavation nodes. But we are going to talk about the wheat node first here at Northern Wheat Plantation. Paprika is a really good node. This can be bought from a vendor in Calpheon, but it cannot hurt to have the node as well. It has a really high turnover rate, so you're going to be able to get a lot of paprika. I'm warning you right now, paprika is a vegetable in BDO. And again, this is used for pickled vegetables. I recommend using paprika, like just have the node, and then you can either sell it if you don't need to make pickled vegetables or whatever, or you can use it in your cooking recipes. It's a really good node. Wheat, barley, again, these all serve the same purpose. These don't have very good efficiency. These two nodes are not very high priority. If you only have a small amount of contribution, believe it or not, the wheat and the barley nodes, probably not for you. The paprika nodes, probably better. And again, we talked about Tuscany Farm. This is a bait. They're just like the corn nodes of Tuscany. If you have extra contributions, sure, you can do them, but yeah, it is what it is. This is the better node if you have a small amount of contribution. This is absolutely the node that you need to take instead. Okay, so you go a little bit further to Bernianto Farm. This node is extremely important because it gives platinum now. This is new as of this patch, and Trace of Nature. Platinum is extremely important for, like I said, the T10 attempts for everybody on the server. It's always going to be at max. You're going to sell it like crazy. Definitely super good. Take the Bernianto Farm. You have to chat with the node manager though. Birch and Birch Sap at Beechtree Ruins is definitely one of the more efficient nodes in Calpheon to get. I would rate this as like the 5 out of 15 nodes. It's probably number 5. It's in the top 30%. Really good. Again, Birch Sap is extremely useful, and Birch Timber will always sell at a reasonable price. It's not the best timber, but definitely will sell. I'm pretty sure it's used in the Calpheon crate. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure it's cedar, fir, and birch, but I could be wrong about the birch. Okay, there is also another node that you could take. Quint Hill is pretty good if you connect it up through Calpheon here. You would have to connect it like this, though. You'd have to connect up like this, and then this, up to Quint Hill like that. Is definitely the most efficient way to do it. It's pretty good. I don't have it right now because I decided to go elsewhere with my stuff, but this gives you birch timber, red tree lump. We talked about red tree lump. It's like whatever, it's not very good. But birch timber is pretty solid, and then it has lead, and then powder of time. Like I said, it's not that great, but like this node is an option if you have extra contribution, and you can't reach some of the other nodes. That's definitely an option for you. Over at Portaferia, very quickly, Portaferia I kind of consider part of Calpheon. This is the only fishing node in the game. Nighttime, Gina. How can I apply to your guild? Exclamation point guild. And then it'll walk you through it. This is the only fishing node I take in the entire game. Fishing nodes are extremely useful for basically one thing: making a feed for your pets. Okay, most of the feed in the game is going to require you to have some sort of fish. Okay, there are a lot of different fish nodes in the game. Most people who don't know anything about the game take the one right outside of Portaferia. They take their one worker in Portaferia, and they take the node right outside Portaferia, and they take this one. This is not necessarily the most efficient though. Okay, these have a really long runtime. Okay, and if you just go a little bit further to Randis Island, this one right here actually has dried octopus. Dried octopus is unique because it counts as seafood in BDO. And then you have seafood laying around if you need to make any of the more advanced recipes, or you could just sell the octopus because it's worth a lot of money. But like this is a much more efficient in terms of fishing nodes. This is definitely the one to get. The other one is just like, it's going to have this stuff, but it's not going to have the octopus. You definitely just do this one. But it's got a really long run time. You can see it's got like, oh, it's at least 2 hours probably, even for a level 40 artisan worker. It's going to take a while. Why not the Velia ones? You can take the Velia ones, but the problem with the Velia fishing nodes, like if you take this one here, is that it's extra contribution and extra worker space. There are so many really good nodes around Velia that like you really don't want to waste a worker on a fishing node when they could be on potatoes, or they could be on the eggs, or they could be on the ash sap, right? Like you have much more important things around Velia to get. Porphyria, there's not very much interesting things around Porphyria. You're going to have one free worker lodging anyway, and so like reaching up to grab that is really not super hard. And if you have a low amount of contribution and you want to make the feed yourself, or even if you just want to sell all that fish and make a lot of money off that, you can totally do that too. Like this is why Porphyria is generally the most efficient way to get your fishing nodes in the game. Okay, so we went through northern Calpheon. Now we're going to start looking at our southern Calpheon routes, okay? The best way to feed down through Calpheon is to go to Cabino Farm and then kind of feed down to Phenol's Cabin. Phenol's Cabin's really good because it gives you fur timber and fur sap. Fur timber, in my experience, is the best timber in the game in terms of selling. It typically sells for very close to maximum price. People buy that crap all the time, and it's worth a fortune in bulk. Fur sap is also really good. It's used for a lot of alchemy recipes. Super, super good. Fish is also important for the Balenos meal. True. Although if you're going to make Balenos meals, you're going to need more than one fishing node. That's for sure. Or you're going to have to buy fish off the market. Alternatively, if you're going to make Balenos meals and you AFK fish overnight, I recommend picking one type of fish and then drying that fish. So like if you fish off the dock of Porphyria or Velia, take the fish that you get the most of and just dry that fish when you wake up in the morning. You just hit L, go to process, go to drying, dry that one fish. Everything else you can sell to the trade manager, whatever. And then you just dry that every day and you will build up enough fish to make Balenos meals. That's the best way to do it. Okay, I got off track. I apologize. All right, so now Phenol's Cabin is great, but you're really trying to grab Bear Riverhead. Remember we talked earlier about tin? Tin nodes in Calpheon are a W. Tin and zinc are kind of like a mid-tier ore. Like you have low-tier ores like copper and iron. They're very common. You have like the rarer ores, which are like tin and zinc. And then you have like the omega rare, very difficult, very valuable ores like platinum and mithril and gold and stuff. Although gold is really not very valuable. You can get it. Mithril is really tough. Platinum is required in so much quantities that it's basically mithril. But tin is really good. Tin is used for a lot of different things in the game. A lot of people like to create tin. Is generally like what they want to do with it, and it sells for a really high price. Vanadium, oh yeah, I would say I would put vanadium and like titanium as a step above tin and zinc. That's kind of where they're at. So you have like at the very bottom of the list in terms of like the rarity of ores, you have like copper and iron, and then above them you have zinc and tin. And then above them, you would have vanadium and titanium. And then above them, you would probably have like gold and platinum. And then above them, you would have mithril. Okay. And these are increasingly harder to get. Harder to get. Okay. As you go up this list. The problem is gold doesn't have very much of a demand for it, but platinum does. Platinum's got a massive demand. But like zinc and tin sell for a massive amount. Yeah, copper and iron can sell for a lot too, but you have to wait for them to be valuable. You can pretty much just always count on tin and zinc being really good. Root 'em out station. This is the other tin node. Really good. Rough green crystal will also sell. Knock ore. Oh yeah, knock ore goes with the zinc and the tin. Knock ore is right around where zinc and tin are. Very, very good. But we'll get to that later. This is one of the other tin nodes, Root 'em out station. Again, the tin nodes are your highest priority in Calpheon. If you can reach them, you should. And if you can reach Phenol Cabin, you can probably reach Root 'em out station. These are the priority nodes here. The other priority node is come up to Mancha Forest here. Mancha Forest has fur timber, fur sap. W. Can't go wrong. Very good. Lots of money. You can come out of Trent to grab that if you want to. And then this one's garbage. It's like okay. Okay, gold is like whatever. Trace of Nature is like, okay. The only reason I have this node is because, all right, yeah, I need a lot of traces for alchemy. So, why not? Because I already have the node for the fur. This is the more important of the two. This, much less important. If you're trying to do alchemy and you absolutely need Trace of Nature, you can just buy it. Fur timber, though, that's the money. That's the money. This is another one. This one's a fur node as well, and it gives bloody tree knot. Bloody tree knots are a little bit better than like the red tree lumps. that we talked about before. Bloody Tree Knots are okay. Sometimes they're higher demand, but generally speaking, they're going to be close to min. We'll see where they are right now. Yeah, see, they're pretty low. But like you can see that they do fluctuate, but they kind of hover min most of the time. But they'll sell. They're not just going to sit there bottomed out at min. They will actually sell, unlike the red tree lumps. Okay. This so pathing up from Trent right here, this is the first one that you want to grab. Cedar Timber and Spirit Leaf. Yeah, if you only have a very small amount of contribution, this is your node. Okay. Cedar Timber, Spirit Leaf, really good. You get one Trent worker. If you only want to put one down, it's at Lumberjack's rest area. You throw that down. If you have extra contribution, like a lot, like over 400 contribution, you can reach out to Longleaf Tree Forest. This is a fine node because it gives Cedar Timber and Cedar Sap. This is one of the only nodes in the game that's going to give you Cedar Sap, and so it's extremely sought after. Really, really tough. Is anyone else? Okay, chill, Squirtimus. You can come out here and grab the Cedar Sap. Cedar Timber is also going to be really good, but you understand that this is kind of a lot of contribution. It's like 7 contribution to get all the way out here, and then another 3 to take the node. I forget. Maybe it's only 1. Regardless, this is kind of a lot of contribution to invest for one node. But like I have it because again I'm an alchemist, and I need that cedar. I need that Cedar Sap. Is very valuable to me as passive income. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about Keplin here. Keplin's kind of dicey. People mess Keplin up all the time because they get confused. I'll be honest with you. I think the developers kind of got fucky because they connected the nodes. If you want to take Lutani Cave, you got to take it like that. If you want to take Lutani Cave, you got to take it by going all the way up and around. It's a nightmare. Lutani Cave is really good, but it's just not worth the contribution investment. It does give you coal and powder of the rifts. The Emperor, again, we talked about mushroom nodes. Complete garbage. Don't ever take mushroom nodes. But like, yeah, it's just not worth the coal. The runtime on it's actually really fast because the worker only goes. If you watch the worker, he only leaves. He goes bam, bam. He just runs it down. But like, it's just not worth doing. You can just take Keplin Quarry and get the same damn thing. So you grab Keplin Quarry with your one Keplin worker. If you're going to put one worker on a node, you put it on Keplin Quarry. Okay. If you're going to have 2 workers coming out of Keplin, you go to Ozzy Pass. This is where you have Cedar Timber and Monk's Branch. Okay. If you have a lot of workers in Keplin, like you have the 4 worker lodging from the Pearl Shop, and you have a lot of contribution, you can feed your nodes down through Keplin Hill, Gyanan Farm, Gahaku Plain, all the way down to Primal Giant Post here. Lead ore and Powder of Rifts will typically sell pretty well. Powder of Rifts kind of minned out, but like whatever. Lead will intermittently sell pretty well. Iron and Powder of Darkness, that's a really good node, and this is the node that you're here for. It is the Pine Sap node. This used to be one of the only Pine Sap nodes in the game. It is not like required anymore. You really only want to take this again if you have over about 380 contribution. This is definitely a node set that you can come down here and take. Also, you only take this if you have a lot of workers in Keplin. Okay. Things that people used to reach up for is they used to come to Witch's Chapel and over to Fountain of Origin. Fountain of Origin now gives Mithril and Trace of Nature. Garbage. Mithril is a scam. Don't even look at it. If you need Mithril, typically the only thing people need Mithril for are for building their Krogdalo horse sets. And it's extremely difficult to get. I've had this other Mithril node. This is all the Mithril I have on the account. I bought these off the marketplace. And you can see I have Mithril being deposited in Calpheon and Odalita. I've had 1 Mithril node for the last 3 to 4 years. That is the amount of Mithril that I have gotten. They buffed it not too long ago, and it's still garbage. It's still complete garbage. So don't get baited by the Mithril. It's not really used for a whole lot of things, and you can just buy the ingots off the market. You need so much of it for the Krogdalo set. You just buy the ingots off the marketplace. It's not worth trying to grab the node for it. And Fountain of Origin is certainly not worth it anymore. Neither is Shuriken Necropolis. Don't worry about that either. That's Mithril. That's garbage now as well. Then you can come up. I come up through Hex Sanctuary. This is now Ruit Tree Stub is now one of the best nodes in the entire game if you can reach it. You can only really get to this node if you have this like Keplin. You can either come down through Keplen, or you can come down through... I recommend most players... I reached up through Keplen, but most players are going to have to connect through Calpheon like this, and then you're going to have to go across to it. Okay, this is how most players are going to have to connect this. That's the most efficient way to do it. And that is an extremely high priority node. I don't know if it's necessarily more priority... Oh, whoops. That... I want to do this. I don't know if it's necessarily higher priority than the tin node at Bear Riverhead. It's got Opal. Opal and Trace of Nature. Trace of Nature is always valuable for alchemy, and Opal is extremely useful, again, for T10 attempts. It's just like Platinum, except that you're going to bring in a lot more Opal than you would Platinum. Opal basically sits at maximum price all the time, and you will always sell it at max price. There's always a massive supply, or I mean demand for it, and not enough supply. Definitely grab this node. Even if you have a small amount of contribution, you should reach down, grab this tin node, and then come right over here and grab this Opal node. Is really, really good. And you can come up and grab the other tin node here as well. Really, really solid. Chain of nodes right there. That's all of Calpheon. That's basically everything. We'll talk about Star's End when we come over towards Grana, or like Kamasylvia. But Star's End is also something that you can look at taking, but you don't come through Calpheon to do it. Do not connect Star's End through Calpheon. It's basically the same amount of contribution required, but you're going through a lot of useless nodes. Don't worry about it. Just take my word for it. It's not worth doing. You connect it through Grana. And speaking of which, we're going to come down to Kamasylvia right now. We're going to talk about these nodes. Old Wisdom Tree will give you a worker. I'm fairly certain, but there's no really good nodes at Old Wisdom Tree. Yeah, I technically can hire 2 workers here. I'm technically missing out on efficiency, but you'll notice that my contribution is... I'm at 407 contribution, and I don't have basically any contribution available to me at the moment. So, and there's no nodes in Old Wisdom Tree that are very valuable, except for maybe this one right here. That's the Moss Tree. There is a Loopy Tree Sap node somewhere around here. Where's the Loopy Tree Sap node? Maybe I'm crazy. Oh, maybe not. I thought there was a Loopy Tree Sap node here. Loopy's by Ash. No, that's in Loopy Tree Forest. I thought there was another Loopy Tree Sap node here. But I could have been, I could be wrong. Regardless, this is the exact reason why I don't have anything going on. This is the exact reason why I don't have anything going on in Old Wisdom Tree. It's because there's no good nodes by Old Wisdom Tree. This node is garbage. The Moss Tree Sap, there's only one use for Moss Tree Sap in the entire game as far as I'm aware, and that is for the Weenie and Loony elixirs, respectively. Yes, I know they sound funny. That's the knowledge elixirs. And people don't generally need those unless they're making the drought. And that's basically it. Unless you want to connect all the way down to here. Knock ore is really good, but you don't get it from that node there. All right. This is the connections that you're going to have through Kama, all right? Everybody goes the same way. You come up, over, around, up, and bam, like that. All right, that's it. That's the node connection for Kama. This is, and as you go, you're going to pick up more and more nodes. If you only have one Grana worker, okay, if you only have one Grana worker, it's this one every time. Powder of Earth's actually pretty valuable, and then the knock ore is crazy, man. Knock ore goes so hard. Knock ore is typically at max price. Yep. It typically always sits at maximum price, and you can get it in pretty mass quantities. So this is a really, really good ore. It's just like tin and zinc in terms of overall value, but like people, like I guess people make it into crates and stuff. I'm not really sure what I'm pretty sure people crate it up, and that's why it's always at max. But it's always at max. It's crazy. It's amazing. Okay, so then you come up through here. You can grab through Tooth Fairy Forest. This is the next one you can grab. You don't need this node. This node's like mid as hell. I might rip it out and go a different way with it. Like if I feel like I can get down to southern Kamasylvia here, and take this node would be better. In fact, can I do that right now? Can I do that? Hold on. So if I pull out, ooh, that's 2 contribution. Okay, well, the second that I get 1 more contribution point, I'm taking this node instead. Because this knock ore is going to be really, really good. Again, knock ore sells at max price. This sucks. This is just Trace of Nature, and the Vetalona, that's a flower. It's garbage. You're just not going to get enough of it to be relevant. Loopy Tree Forest is the best node in Kamasylvia. Okay, this is where you typically get your Loopy Tree Sap. This is the one of the limiting reagents for Spirit Perfume Elixir. We talked about Spirit Perfume Elixir before. This is by far the best node in Kamasylvia if you can reach it. Loopy Tree Sap is crazy good. And sells pretty much at maximum price. Minus the knock. Okay, so again, knock ore, really good. Best nodes. Loopy Tree Sap, this is the only way to get it in the game. So that's what makes it the best for me, because now I can make Spirit Perfume Elixir. But if you're talking in terms of overall money, prioritize the knock ore nodes. If you just want raw silver dollars, knock ore first, then come up here and grab this. This is the third highest. Okay. If you want to reach up towards Star's End, now's the time to do it. You can go up through Ash Forest. This also, the reason that people connect through here. Who just died right there? Hold on. Beautiful death. You're garbage. One of my guild members has passed away in Ash Forest. Tragic. But like, you can come up through Ash Forest and Star's End, and this is great because you can invest energy into these nodes. Remember, guys, I have these set up so that I can basically invest energy into these nodes so that when I'm grinding, I can get more like drop rate while I'm grinding at these nodes, especially with the new node war changes that are probably already out by the time that you're watching this video on YouTube. We're getting super buffed. Like, so if you have a bunch of energy invested in a node, they're going to double how efficient that like your drop rate is from having energy invested in the node. As far as I am aware, having energy invested into a particular like subset node does not actually increase the worker efficiency. I could be wrong about this. It does allow you to do this, but no one does this, and like we're pretty sure it just doesn't work. But like it does, the drop rate thing works, that's for sure. That for sure. And the only thing you can really get from Star's End that matters is you can get Trace of Nature, or you can take this melted copper is actually probably a better node in terms of efficiency. I'm gonna trade it off. I'm gonna trade it off. I think that melted copper is probably better. I'm gonna give it a go. Again, I have Fadus workers here. I really don't like Fadus workers, but it is what it is. I want you to drop this in Calpheon so much. Okay. Again, melted copper is pretty good. And again, the Trace of Nature is just not worth coming all the way out there for. And then the Massive Pure Magic's useless to me. I already have a ton of Massive Pure Magic. If you need Massive Pure Magic, that's a great way to get it, but you're probably going to get enough grinding from Orcs if you're a new player. Okay, so that's Grana. That's it. That's all there is to Grana. Piece of cake. It's just one node route. You're done. Understand that the reason I also come down through here, guys, from Keplen is because it also goes through the Primal Giant Post. Okay, you can take Primal Giant Post LV around. Okay. I will say there's no real good way to get to Orcs. Okay, but the reason I have this connected like this from Heidel to Calpheon in this way is so that if I want to grab Orcs, it's just one contribution extra. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Okay, let's do Odalita real quick. Odie's really fast too. There's only a few nodes in Odie that are actually good. Odalita is probably the worst region in the game as far as efficiency goes. I don't recommend getting any more than the absolute necessary workers in Odie. Okay, because you're going to end up wasting a lot of contribution for very minimal gains. One of the nodes that people like to talk a lot about is Narcion. It says chicken meat and egg. It's extremely efficient at getting you eggs and chicken meat, okay, because no one has the node, because it takes you like 8 contribution to get out there. It's obnoxious. You'll notice it's set at 100% territory resource information over here. That's because no one has Odalita nodes because they're extremely inefficient to grab. So like, I don't recommend grabbing this. If you're super into cooking and you really need eggs, sure, but otherwise you're never getting that for any reason. This node right here is the nickel node with Powder of Darkness. W boys. Nickel node. The nickel is cash money. Nickel basically sits at max price all the time, and it comes in droves. It's really good from this node. Mithril, garbage, but we're here for the nickel. We're here for the nickel. It's also good to have like one mithril node, I guess. Sure, like, yeah, whatever. But like, we're not here for the mithril. You're here for the nickel. So if you have one worker to put on Odalita, or you're wondering which one to use, it's this nickel and powder of darkness for sure. You grab that one. If you have the extra contribution, you can, or the extra worker slot, like you have the loyalty worker, put them on this one. Okay. If you want to reach up and around a crypt, the reason I have crypt is not because it's an efficient worker thing. It's because I'm going to have to grind here. And so I have put, so I'm putting energy into Crypt of Resting Thoughts so that I can try to get my Devareka belts a little faster. But like, you can reach up and around towards that. But again, this is why I connect my nodes the way I do. They're very efficient for the most efficient grind zones in the game. I know I didn't really cover that as we were going, but I promise you the reason I have these connected the way that I do is, one, for contribution efficiency, but two, also it goes by the biggest nodes in the game that you might actually end up grinding at. So if you're just a grinder and you're using this as passive income, you're definitely going to want to use my Worker Empire setup for this. You do not want to come out this way. You don't do this. The only reason I have all of these connected is to connect these two regions. Like this. Most people are never going to have these connected, and for a good reason. It's because they're not fucking idiots. I bought worker storage in Odalita. So you can see I have 8 workers to put to work, and I still can't get the last one to put to work because I don't have enough contribution. But the only way to really make Odraxia workers worthwhile is to actually feed them over to Aelton, and put them in nodes that are around here. We'll go through these really quickly. These are garbage. You don't take those. That is whatever. Here we go. Shuriken Mine. Quartz is garbage, so this Trace of Nature node is not worth it at all. It requires 3 contribution. It's not worth your time. Obsidian ore is bank money. This is the only node in the game that gives rough obsidian ore. This shit sells at maximum price all the time, and it's at maximum efficiency because no one has this node. This shit is money. That shit is crazy. If you have 400 plus contribution and you can reach this node, this is a great node. But I would recommend doing it through probably Aelton if you're going to do it, because you're going to come down through Aelton for other stuff as well. Again, the only reason I have it connected through Odraxia is because I have to put a bunch of extra workers to work. So you can see all these extra workers. These are all coming out of Odraxia because, like, I don't have anything else to put them on. So, like, all right, well, I guess I'll just put them on here. In this case, Bracken. Bracken's pretty good. We talked about Bracken before. This is not by any means. This is an extremely low priority. I would not do this unless you have a massive amount of contribution and you happen to have a lot of worker lodging in Odraxia. Okay, you can grab that Bracken node on the way there. But again, no one else in the game probably has that other than me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The Birch and the Monk's Timber are Monk's Branch. This is a pretty good node, to be honest with you. You can do better in Calpheon, but no one has this node. So in terms of overall efficiency, this is gonna give you a really good amount of Monk's Branches as long as you put a human on it. Jade Starlight Forest is pretty good. Rough Jade sells, but more importantly, Snowfield Cedar Sap is used for Destruction Elixir. And the PvPers of the server will thank me because I'm telling you to get this node. This node is really good. And again, we're over in Aelton now, by the way. So you can loop this down through Aelton. This is not... There are 2 Snowfield Cedar nodes, okay? There's one up here at Windmill's Perch. That's the one that you take, okay? If you only have 1 worker at Aelton and you don't have any other like place to go with them, you put your 1 worker on this one right here. Snowfield Cedar Timber, Snowfield Cedar Sap. That's the one right there. Alternatively, if you don't want to go to that because it's slightly more contribution, the honey node, this is the best honey node in the game. Hands down, the honey node outside of Heidel is not nearly as efficient. This one is crazy. I don't know. It's just nuts. I think it's because less people know about it. So like if you only have a really small amount of contribution or you want to get like exact figures and you're missing 1 or 2 points and you're trying to like be as efficient as possible, definitely take the honey node instead. But like if you have a couple contribution points to spare, you definitely want to take the Snowfield Cedar sap is really good. Because then you don't have to come out and gather it if you don't want to. I have both Snowfield Cedar Sap because I like to make a lot of Destruction Elixir. The second Snowfield Cedar Sap, like I said, is down here at Jade Starlight Forest. I like connecting this node because, like I said, a lot of my nodes are connected because I also like to grind these spots. I like grinding at Jade Starlight Forest. This is also a great grind zone if you're trying to get your flame, obviously, and like if you don't want to grind orcs anymore because you're dead inside. It's a great spot for Agris as well. So again, having Jade Starlight Forest invested into means that you can invest energy into Jade as well. So like Snowfield Cedar node there, goes really hard. Mountain of Eternal Winter, I was trying the translucent ice. This is garbage. I will double check, but I took the translucent ice as like an experiment because I didn't know if it was going to be worthwhile. I'm fairly certain that this is garbage. I did it for science. This should be connected up through here. Yeah, so yeah, don't bother. Like, I kind of want to pull that right now. I'm gonna pull this out. This will give me more contribution elsewhere. Okay, because you really only want to come down to Jade. I guess I could take this. Yeah, I'll just take the trace node. It's fine. I want to run him from Ailton. Wait, that's 58 minutes. Wait, hold up. Yeah. Yeah, no, the dwarf. The dwarf's just better. Okay. Yeah, because he's not... Oh, it's a professional worker. I need to upgrade him. That's weird. Okay, Calpheon, sure. Sure. Now I need to figure out... I have 3 extra contribution. I have to figure out where I want to put this Ailton worker. Can take Knock. Where's Knock at? Oh. Good call. Good call, chat. There it is. There it is. See? Hi, I'm Dory. All right. Bet. We're huge. Calpheon. All right. Double duty knock or we're huge. That's way better. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So I still have 1 worker that's not doing anything. And I have 1 contribution point. I'm not sure where I could actually... Yeah, see, that's 3. Yeah, I'm just going to leave the Ailton worker for now. I can promote him as well. Anyway, so I might reach up and grab Tashira Ruins for the Bracken. That's probably the most efficient way to do it, but that's 3 contribution or 2 contributions, so I'll need 1 more contribution point to put him on that. So this is how you connect your Ailton nodes if you want them. Again, honey or Snowfield Cedar Sap if you have slightly more contribution. Snowfield Cedar Sap's really easy. You just grab that, then grab that. I have it connected through Dreighan because Dreighan has like nothing good. Okay, Dreighan has like literally no good nodes, almost at all. I have 2 workers in Dreighan for a reason. Okay, and I would, if I could have none, I would have none. Okay, it's because they gave them both to us for free. Okay, so Duvenkroon's terrible. Don't take anything west of Duvenkroon. Okay, east of Duvenkroon is where you want to go. You want to connect over through Garmoth's Pit up to Dorman Lumber Camp is fine. You can take the fur node that's up here. Thuja is garbage. Thuja sap is used for the Helix Elixir though, so Thuja sap at least has a use. Thuja is really only used for like making furniture. And you can see this stuff sits basically at min all the time. It's not very good. Except for the Thuja sap. Like I said, that has a use. See, man, I got that knowledge. Okay. All right. Now, instead of that node, though, if you have the contribution to take that, I wouldn't take that. I would go this way. You either come out here, you take the Bracken node. If you end up short on contribution, you could take this Bracken node. If you have just a little bit more contribution and can reach the Kumi Lumber Camp, this is way better. This is definitely the best 2 nodes in Dreighan right here. It's probably the Pine followed by the Birch. You can probably get the Pine first, then the Birch. If you're looking for money. Okay. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to take that node through Duvenkroon. If you have Serendia Shrine, like I told you to take in Serendia, you can actually just take the BAM. And then you can run these from Heidel, which is what I do. These are being run out of Heidel. And like that's a really smart way to kind of get down here because it doesn't take any extra contribution to grab it. But like I said, the only way to really make Duvenkroon or like your Dreighan workers work is to kind of come out here through Tashira. So I connected, in order to work my Duvenkroon workers, I actually connected Duvenkroon to Windknow's Perch, and that's where my Snowfield Cedar Sap is actually going. Like that's where it's coming from. I forget where the other one is. Windknow's Perch and then Kuwait Lumber Camp. Okay, so yeah, one of these is from here. The other one's going from Heidel. Okay, that's all. That's all you really need to know about for Dreighan. Everything else is garbage. All right, Mediah is different now. There are actually good nodes in Mediah. We love Mediah. But if you only have one worker at each city, the one you're taking every time is called Ancient Ruins Excavation Site. Okay? Now, I will say, for what it's worth, if you only have one worker in Tariff, you're taking the Cinnamon node. I'm doing a favor to all the horse trainers on the server. Cinnamon is used to make Carrot Confit. That's used for the weekly for the T10 horse. It's constantly sitting at max price. Its runtime is really short. It's really good. It's the only Cinnamon node in the game. And as far as I'm aware, that's the only way you can get it in the game. Unless... I don't know if you can farm it. You might be able to farm it. I don't know if you can farm it. Like, this is the only passive way to get it. And so that's a really good node. So if you're running it one worker out of Tariff, there's your guy. Alta Nova, if you're just running one worker out of Alta Nova, you could probably run down to Abandoned Iron Mine and grab the Zinc Platinum Powder of Time node. This is fine. And again, you want to put a human on this node because, again, it's got multiple things. You need to proc luck. Luck is important. Platinum's crazy. Platinum's crazy. The best node on region is Ancient Ruins Excavation Site. Boys, we got more opal. Oh, boys, are we getting opal? Opal and Trace of Nature. This huge. We love opal. Okay, that's a crazy node. It's a crazy good node. If you can grab it, really good. If you have the extra contribution to kind of connect up through here, again, you can connect over through Heidel, by the way. You don't have to go through Alta Nova to grab this node. You can basically come up through Heidel, grab Kamasylvia Temple, and then bam, you're at Ancient Ruin Excavation Site, and then you run the node out of Heidel. The runtime will basically be the same as Alta Nova. So just be careful about how you're connecting this stuff. You don't have to run out of Alta Nova for these workers. Ancient Fisher is also... This is zinc. We talked about tin, zinc, and knock ore being very good. Knock is clearly like the best, but zinc typically max. Zinc can sell for a really high price too, so can tin. Tin basically sells at max all the time as well. These are really good. Rough Red Crystal will sell pretty much all the time, so will Powder of Time. Really, really good. If you have extra contribution, so that was all like the low contribution stuff, okay? Low contribution stuff would be like the Cinnamon node, you take that first, all right? And then you can take the... Honestly, if you only have a small amount of contribution, you're not going to run anything out of Alta Nova. Don't even worry about it. But like, if you have at least 4 or 5, you can take the... You can either take this one. I recommend the zinc one. It's just going to be better for you. If you come up here in Alta Nova, this is the route that you're going to take as you come up. Omar Lava Cave is a great node, but it's not required by any needs. Again, you get platinum from these. Platinum from these nodes, it's not the primary resource, so it's difficult to get platinum from these nodes. But it used to be the only way to get it, so that's why platinum was so rare. The reason that these nodes are really fucking good now, Burning Anto Farm, the platinum is the primary resource from Burning Anto Farm, meaning you're going to get a lot of platinum from that node. Trace of Nature will come secondary. That's amazing. The reason the Alta Nova nodes aren't very good is because platinum's listed third is the lowest chance of dropping that. It's like, all right, well, it's still good though. This is the only place you're really going to be able to get rough ruby in the game. Ruby is used for all sorts of things. I think it's used in the Krogdalo gear crafting. It's also used in crafting your compass, but that's like a once per account thing. I wouldn't count that as supply, like long term. Isn't zinc still good enough? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's why I said you want to take the zinc one because it's really good. And then it also has platinum. That's just the bonus, right? Like those nodes are really good. They're also very expensive though. Like contribution wise, those are kind of expensive. The cotton nodes are really good, guys. There's 2 cotton nodes right outside of Tariff. If you end up with the extra worker lodging in Tariff, I highly recommend extending for the cotton. Like if you have 3 workers in Tariff, you grab the cotton right here, you grab the cotton right here, and you run them out of Tariff. They're really, really efficient. They're really good. People like to use them for AFK processing overnight, or like, and they're also used to craft a lot of the functional clothes in the game. You need, like cotton, basically. You need a lot of cotton for like the crafting in the game. So like there's always a demand for cotton. If you want to process it or not is kind of irrelevant. It's whatever, but cotton is really good. There are also nodes if you want to thread up through the top of Valencia here. If you want to go up through Mediah Northern Highlands, again, I will show you how to connect these really quickly. If I click on Mediah Northern Highlands here and I want to connect down to Tariff, you can see that this is the most efficient connection path in the game. This is how you would get up here. Okay. I don't really like Mediah Northern Highlands very much anymore because it's relatively inefficient. but this is the only place you're going to be able to get white cedar sap, timber in the game and white cedar sap in the game. So like if you're trying to make your carrack, like you're looking at my boat guide, you're trying to craft your carrack, or you're trying to craft your it's not your carrack, it's the caravel, I think, that requires the white cedar sap. It could be the galleus, but it's one of the two requires that sap. But I recommend just buying it. Just buy it. You don't need to do this. This is the better node here. Maple sap, maple timber, and old tree bark are definitely more valuable if you're going to come up here and grab those. That's all of them. Oh yeah, this is acacia. This is the only acacia node in the game. This is technically a really good node. I used to swear by this node. It was really good. Then I realized it was kind of crap in terms of the overall efficiency. People had it like all the time. It's the only way to get acacia, and acacia is typically at max price, but like, damn, bro, it kind of sucks, man. Like, yeah, I'll be honest with you, there's better nodes. There's just better nodes nowadays. Elric Shrine has white cedar too. Yeah, so if you're trying to get white cedar sap, that's true. If you're trying to get white cedar sap, you can go up through, but you would have seen that on the connection, right? I apologize. But yeah, you would have connected up through Elric Shrine. You would have grabbed this white cedar sap node, and then you would have grabbed this one too, if you desperately need it. But again, if you need it that bad, you're buying it off the market and you're going to gather it yourself. Like the node is going to take 11 years to get the amount of sap that you would need for a caravel. It's going to take you probably 8 months. Like to get it from nodes. It's crazy. It's insane. You need like 10,000 sap or something. It's crazy. More than that actually. Then like it's crazy. I think they lowered it recently. Okay, that's Mediah nodes. Everything else on Mediah sucks. Don't even look at it. All right, now we're gonna do Valencia. Valencia is very tricky. Valencia is a tricky region. There's a lot of ways to get caught up on your contribution here. Again, I'm going to try to go through this so that like, hey, here's the node that you should take if you only have one node, right? Or if you only have one worker, right? That's what we're going to do first. We'll go through all the cities first, okay? First things first, you get a worker in Sandgrain Bazaar. You're looking at this node right here. It's the Kaposha node, and you're going to get the Opal, okay? Don't do anything else. You're going to get this one. You're welcome to all of the T10 horse players on the server. If you have extra workers at Sandgrain Bazaar, you're going to come up and grab these nutmeg and teff nodes. You don't need teff, is kind of garbage. I don't really recommend it, but if you the nutmeg is definitely more important, so you can grab that. This is a mess. Everything in this little circle that I'm going to draw here, everything in here is a mess. This sucks. I don't like it. This is kind of a bait. It's a huge contribution sink. The only reason that I would tell a new player to do this is because you can get to centaurs and you can get to cadres, and then you can dump points into those nodes so that you get higher drop rate at those nodes. So if you're grinding these nodes or grinding it like centaurs or something, yes, you can come out here, and the best nodes to grab, one of these is Pujaya Canyon. This is another Opal node. This is definitely the one that you want to come to. This is a pretty good node. Opal drops not as good as Kaposha, but it's pretty good here. And again, nobody has this node, so it's a little bit more efficient in that regard. Don't go any further down there. This is the Dark Place Simba. Don't go down there. There's also Kunid's Vacation Spot, which has your bag of muddy water. This is probably the best, second best node out here. Purified water is difficult to get. This is a passive way to get purified water for alchemy. You need purified water for alchemy, and you need purified water in large-scale PvP to put out fires. Believe it or not, they can put out flame cannonball shots in large-scale PvP. So having some purified water on you ain't the worst. You also need it for the heat stroke and stuff in the desert. You can buy it from the NPC. That is true. But purified water sells on the marketplace, no question. You can buy it from an NPC in Sandgrain Bazaar, as my alchemy guide will tell you. You go to the general good vendor Wada in Sandgrain Bazaar, and you can buy it, but it is kind of a premium. If you sell it on the marketplace, oh yeah, you're making bank, boys. You're making bank. Yeah, you definitely get a lot of purified water from that node, and the bag of muddy water can be processed into more purified water through filtering. So like, this is a pretty good node here. There is another node up here by Lake Hull Falls. This is another purified water node. I don't recommend taking this. The only reason that you're ever taking the purified water nodes, guys, is because you're either a low-end grinder and you're just connecting your nodes and you're trying to put your workers to work. Because again, you can take your Alta Nova worker and you can just kind of come out here if you want to. Like, you don't have to come this way. It's just Abandoned Iron Mine is pretty easy to discover. If you want to come down to Pujaya Canyon, you can. How much contribution is this? Hold on. This to this. Oof. Yeah, that's rough, man. Yeah, don't do that. That's 11 CP. Do you see how ridiculously convoluted this is? This is stupid. You got to come all the way out here. If this connected to here, it would be great. But, like, it doesn't. So you have to, like, go all the way around. It's annoying. Okay. You can connect it from Sand Grain. Also works. But, like, why would you do that when you have Kaposha? Stupid. It's dumb. That's why Altanova, you come out down here. Okay. The only reason to connect Shikatu to Altanova is for trading purposes, or maybe you want to use your Shikatu workers down south. You can get a lot of Shikatu workers, more than you can handle. So if I wanted to connect Altanova to Shikatu, you can see that I'd have to go straight up through these major spots, basically. And if I wanted to take Kunin's vacation spot, you can basically stop off and take that while you're on your way up there. That's probably the best node to grab. But Shikatu, you end up with kind of a lot of workers. Okay. Shikatu, I have 4 workers. I have the 3 Pearl Shop workers, I think, and then I have like the free one that it gives you. If you only have the 1 worker in Shikatu, I highly recommend the Fig. Fig is crazy efficient and it sells at a really good price. Can't go wrong with it. Okay. It's also a small amount of contribution. If you have extra workers in Shikatu, you grab the other Fig node. But Blue, what about Star Anise Tea? Shh. No. Don't do Star Anise Tea. That's stupid. Okay. If you really have an extra worker in Shikatu, you're gonna have to connect all the way up to, I believe, this one. Freaka is not bad. If you want to grab the Freaka node, that's okay. Totally fine. If you want to come up to Iris Canyon, this is technically better because you're gonna get Elder Tree Sap and Nutmeg. Elder Tree is like whatever. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably take this out for the Freaka node instead. I did trade it for a little while, but I don't think that it's really paying off. The Elder Tree Sap's still very valuable. It's still really high, so like that's really good. And then the Elder Tree Timber is also it's okay. It's probably a little bit more efficient than the Nutmeg. And just all things said and done, I don't know. Well, actually, I'm sorry, than the Freaka. Because this is Freaka by itself. I don't think the Freaka by itself is going to outcompete the Elder Tree node. So if you have extra Shikatu workers, you have to feed them up through Sand Grain and up through Gahas. The benefit of feeding these through Gahas is, again, if you like to grind Gahas, this is the node that you would take if you're trying to feed through Gahas. Really good. Again, these are why I have these nodes, guys. All right, you can, little known fact, you can have a worker, or you can have workers in Ankado Inner Harbor. The problem with Ankado Inner Harbor is that you have to invest contribution in it in order to get the workers to work. It's very weird. It doesn't work like this anywhere else in the game. But you can hire workers in Ankado, and as long as it's connected, you can actually run workers out of Ankado. I have 1 worker. Okay. Looks like he's lumbering right now. So he's probably on the Elder Tree. And again, the best nodes to grab, you can, if you really want to grab it, the TEF nodes are down here, but I don't think TEF is very worthwhile. To be honest with you, the best way to connect Ankado, if you only have a small amount of workers, small amount of contribution, you connect Ankado to Valencia, and then you grab the other, because Valencia, you're going to have 1 worker, you're going to take the Date Palm node. And what's better than 1 Date Palm node? 2 Date Palm nodes. Easy peasy. So you can take your Ankado worker, basically will act as another Valencia worker. Your Valencia worker, you're going to put on this, and you're going to put them on Date Palm. Okay. The other worker you can put on, you guessed it, more Date Palm. So Ankado, if you get this, you come up here, you grab this, and then the worker can just be put right on this Date Palm node here. And then you have your 1 Valencia and your Ankado worker working, and they're working on a crazy efficient nodes because Date Palm is really good. Pistachios are actually not bad, but they're also not good. I don't really recommend it. Honestly, the Silkworm Cocoon, this is actually like low-key kind of really good. Nobody has the Silkworm Cocoon, and it actually does have its niche uses. You need to be careful about your server, though, because if too many people have it, it's not very good. Okay? Yeah, see, like, okay, here's where I made my last Empire Guide. I'm not kidding. Here's where my last Worker Empire Guide was made. Here's where it is today. So it's not very good anymore. It's not very good anymore. I would take the Freaka node instead. We're just gonna pull that real quick. Okay, so there is Freaka here, and there's Date Palm here. You can also take Pistachio. So if you have 3 workers in Valencia, you're taking Date Palm, Freaka, and the other Date Palm node. And then the Ancado worker, again, you can connect up through here if you want to. If you want to run extra workers out of Valencia, you can run them through Date Palm for this over here. I'm missing 1 contribution point, or I would grab it. This is Palm Timber. I only have 1 of these. These used to be a lot better nodes. I'm going to be honest with you, though, guys. These are not very good anymore. The coconut used to be really valuable. Palm Timber used to be more valuable, too. But, like, it really is just not doing so well anymore. Because I think there's just too many people that have it. Yeah, it's doing okay. You can see, again, it's worse than it was when I made my first guide back here. But, like, it's doing all right. If you have the extra contribution, you can take them. They're not bad nodes, right? They're good for getting processing EXP on alts. No, you use flax or something for that. You don't really want to use, or like the cotton that we talked about before is honestly the best because cotton's useful. So yeah, I have 1 of these just because I like to bring in a lot of variety of different things. Although I'll be honest with you, if you have 1 worker coming out of Arihaza, it needs to be up here. This right here, bam. Titanium and the rough violet crystal are crazy good. You can also take the vanadium and the rough blue crystal if you want as well. Those are really good. Okay, those are really, really good. Yeah, and all life skills are cross character now. Yes, but if you're a new player and you wanted to level up your processing is what I thought he meant. Yeah, so like these are really, really good nodes. Nobody really has these, and we talked about like the rarity of ores before. Titanium and vanadium, top tier. Definitely a lot of money. Both of them will typically sell at maximum price basically all the time if I check right now. Yeah, you can see they're basically teetering right at close to max price is like 10k or whatever for these. So like, yeah, you're making bank off those nodes. And then the rough crystals, I have it on the violet crystal because violet crystal is worth a good amount of money. Well, it used to be worth a lot of money, and then I made my guide. Okay, so the blue crystal's technically better now, but you can see that's tanking as well. If you extend past this, if you have a lot of extra workers coming out of Arihaza and you want to extend past this, you can go to Gavinia Great Crater, which also has more titanium up here. You can come down to Gavinia Coastal Cliff, which has more vanadium. And this is honestly, if you can reach it and you have the contribution, that node is a slam dunk. You're getting opal, you're getting powder of darkness, you're getting vanadium. Slam dunk, high value node. Problem is, it's just too much contribution. Most people are not going to worry about going to get that. But if you wanted to rework your worker empire and try to reach that, that's not a bad node to go out and grab in Valencia. If you've got like 420 or more contribution, that's not bad. Okay. We're going to talk about these nodes down here a little bit. Moiquin, this is the red city. You can't actually have a worker in Moiquin as far as I'm aware. There's no worker, like it says you can have one, but then there's no worker like hiring guy. I've tried. So can't have one there, and you have to connect through Moiquin if you want to do crazy stuff. Most of the time, if you want to take any of the nodes outside, I'll just generally show how you would connect these because the map is kind of dark. I want to connect this node, and I want to connect Sandgrade. There we go. So this is what it looks like if you want to connect out here. This is a lot of contribution, guys. This is a massive amount of contribution if you want to get out here. But if you're grinding Desert Fogans for your infinite potion, believe it or not, Tidium Valley's not a bad node. Ain't a bad node. All right. You can grab Palm Sap here. Palm Timber, Palm Sap. Palm Sap's not that great. You got Pistachios. You got Teff out here. It's all right. I would grab the Palm node personally. Like, honestly, if you're going to come out here, I would recommend grabbing, is it this one? Pilgrim Sanctum Humility is crazy good now because it gives Opal and Trace of Nature. This is crazy good. No one has this node. It's very difficult to get to, but if you're grinding for the infinite potion and you have the contribution to spare, say your contribution is kind of not tied up elsewhere and you don't have a crazy efficient worker empire, yeah, just come out, just grab this while you're grinding for your infinite pot and you'll get a lot of extra money doing this. This is the connection route right here. Not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It's going to take, what, 9 contribution to get out here? Again, this is just a lot of contribution to kind of reach this. Crescent Shrine is actually not bad either if you want to grab Crescent Shrine as a node. This gives you titanium, rough violet crystal, and powder of flame. Powder of flame kind of sucks. Rough violet crystal kind of go... It can go super hard. Sometimes, like you saw, the market is not so great for it right now, but titanium is always a slam dunk. It's also a date palm node. Date palm is also a slam dunk as well. The problem with this node is that it costs too much contribution to get out here. But a lot of people take this node because, like if they have the extra contribution or they have the extra workers in sand grain, this is the node that they reach out to for. I think it's 7 contribution to get out here. I could be wrong about that. It's 7. This node is 2. I've already invested 2 into this though, but like it's 7 total to reach this. Damn, I'm good. Okay, and then this, to invest into this is probably 3 and 3. So it's gonna be kind of pricey, but like if you have workers to put to work at sand grain, it's not the worst. Hawkman has fig. Don't even look at it. It's not even worth doing. You're gonna get so much fig you don't even know what to do with it from the Shikatu nodes. It's crazy. You don't need that. You don't need to reach for the Hawkman node. Okay, I think I've gotten everything, guys. Have I missed any of the Valencia nodes? I think we're good. Yeah, I think that's it. That's basically how I have it connected. All right, I think I've gotten through all the regions now. I think we're good. Those are all the nodes in the game. Now we're going to talk very specifically about the excavation nodes and what I think about the new excavation nodes. Node type, I would like excavation. So you can see on your map, this is where the blue excavation, like again, you just click the production node information and then change to excavation. These are not all actual excavation nodes because some of them are bugged due to events and stuff, but this will generally tell you where the excavation nodes are. Yeah, I did Land of the Morning Light first, but it'll be in the guide. And nothing in Land of the Morning Light changed from the last guide. The best excavation nodes, these are the nodes that changed with the trace update guides. Ancient Ruins Excavation Site gives you rough opal, W. Glish Ruins gives you platinum. This is a W. Bernianto Farm gives you platinum. This is a W. Ruit Tree Stub gives you opal. This is a huge W. Fountain of Origin and Shirkan Necropolis give you mithril. They're garbage. Mountain of Division, massive pure magic. Nobody cares. Crypt of Resting Thoughts, massive pure magic. Nobody cares. Tooth Fairy Forest gives you some stupid flower shit. Nobody cares. Star's End gives you massive pure magic. Nobody cares. This gives you gold. Ancient Stone Chamber gives you gold now. So does Lynch Farm Ruins. Also gives you gold. Those are okay. I recommend taking those just because they're really close and they're really low contribution value. Finto Farm isn't actually an excavation node. Neither is Coastal Cave. Talked about Ancient Ruins Excavation Site. And then again, Pilgrim Sanctum Humility is a really good node. Sadly, it's just too much contribution for most people. If you're a new player and you're already trying to invest energy into Fogans, it's probably not worth grabbing. Come down to Shirakan Iron Mine. This is quartz. Do not get that. That's garbage. This one is quartz as well. Do not get that. That's garbage. And then this one is a fiery black ore, which again is you don't really need this. Don't worry about that. Okay, I think that's it, right? Oh, all right. There's apparently one at Round Salt. Oh no, it's bugged. These are for the blue boat gear. Don't worry about those. If you look at my boat guide, I explain all 4 of those nodes, but you're not going to take those for normal work stuff. All right, guys, thanks for listening to my Worker Empire guide. This is updated circa 2024. Remember to check some of the prices on your server. It's not the end-all, be-all, and it's certainly not going to be the crazy, like, efficient guide with spreadsheets and stuff. I'm just trying to give it to you brass tacks, what the most efficient nodes are. And what aren't. Ulakita doesn't have any production nodes, so you don't have to worry about those. There is a website for this, guys. I'm going to have this linked in the video description, so if you want to tell what like the most efficient spreadsheet wise like nodes are for everything, this is basically going to have it. It changes all the time and it updates and whatnot, but like this is just a little too much for me, and most players aren't going to want to do that. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe, comment on the video if you liked it so that it helps with the algorithm gods. I love all of you. Till next time.